Well, good afternoon, everyone, or maybe good morning or evening, depending where you're joining us from. Welcome back to the Launchpad and our live launch and recovery coverage of today's Electron launch from RocketLab, the mission there and back again, the first ever recovery test for RocketLab with a rocket during a launch. So we're very excited that you are joining us here today. Currently, RocketLab is targeting 2241 UTC for today's launch. So a few minute delay from what they were targeting early this morning, but the recovery helicopter is in the air. That's what you can see on your screen there right now. And we are expecting RocketLab to begin their live feeds here sometime in the next 10 to 15 minutes. But we want to get started bringing you a live view of the recovery helicopter where it has taken off, about 15-20 minutes ago or so from now. We'll bring you a zoom out here to give you an idea of where this helicopter currently is off of the coast of New Zealand there. They're going to be launching from kind of that outjetting that you can see. Let's see if we can, there we go, turn off the other crafts there. But that outjetting is where they'll be launching from. That recovery craft is out there, as well as the recovery ship. So we'll be tracking the helicopter throughout today as we prepare for today's liftoff attempt. But as always, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. We're glad to welcome you all here. If it's your first time here, let us know that in the chat as well, and we'll give you a shout out. But you are joining us here at the Launchpad for our live coverage of Electron 26 there and back again, launching from the Mahia Peninsula at Launch Complex 1A in New Zealand. That's the Rocket Lab's original launch site, and today the satellites are going to be going into a sun synchronous orbit at 520 kilometers. They are going to be attempting to recover the first stage of the Electron. That is the big deal about today, and they're going to be capturing it with a Sikorsky, probably saying it wrong, S-92 helicopter, which has a range of about 950 kilometers, can travel at a top speed of 306 kilometers an hour. There's some other details there on the screen for you. This, as we said, is going to be the first time the helicopter will catch an Electron booster in midair. It's going to be the first at-sea offload of a booster that has been caught midair. It's the third Rocket Lab launch of 2022, the 26th Electron launch in the Electron history, and we are already at the 48th orbital launch attempt of 2022. Today, there are a number of payloads on board for varying companies, 32, I believe we heard, 34 that are on board today's mission, including Alba Orbital, Asterix Astronautics, Aurora Propulsion Technologies, eSpace, Unseen Labs, and Swarm Technologies. A lot of different CubeSats being launched. The reason the number is so high, Swarm Technologies actually deploys a number of CubeSats in the space of one CubeSat. They're smaller, they're kind of a fifth of the size. Rocket Lab will probably show us a glimpse at those as they prepare to get ready for today. But as we're getting started here, great seeing so many jumping in. Virginia and Ted and Kathy, great to see so many originals here in the chat joining us from around the world. If you haven't yet, take a moment, gauge that like button. It really does help us out, and share out the broadcast. We're very excited to see this recovery attempt hopefully go well for Rocket Lab, as they are now the number 2 busiest launch provider of a U.S. rocket company, obviously right behind SpaceX with their Falcon 9. So if they can bring this recovery system of the Electron online, turn these boosters around very fast, just like SpaceX does, Electron is going to become a powerhouse in the small sat industry. We got Michelle coming in from Arizona, Fairgrounds in Cornwall, England. We got Kat in Long Beach. Great to have you here. Wolfie's in Everett, Washington. Great to have you here. Virginia, I bet the pilot of that's saying this is going to be some fun. They've prepared. They've actually done some rehearsals of it before and are getting underway there. They are going to... So we're just getting an update from Rocket Lab. They said they will be broadcasting the launch, as we did expect. They're going to be getting underway here in about about 10 minutes from now. But due to the remote ocean location where the catch attempt will occur, they do expect some signal loss. So we're unsure what data we will actually have from the helicopter, from the recovery attempt. It may have to be one of those things that we just wait to see what it is like following the recovery when they post it online. But as we were talking about the helicopter that they are going to be using, this is the similar but slightly different helicopter than what they have used for the recovery attempts. It's a customized Sky S9 helicopter. It's a large twin-engine helicopter. It is usually used in search and rescue operations as well as for offshore gas and oil transportations. So that's what they're going to be using for it here today. A breakdown of today's timeline for what you can expect. Following liftoff, we do expect the first stage separation 2.5 minutes into flight. First stage will reach its apogee 4.5 minutes into flight, and at 7:29, 7 minutes 29 seconds into flight, that is when the first stage's drogue chutes will deploy, followed about 45 seconds later by the first stage's main chutes. This is when the helicopter will begin looking for its booster that it's trying to capture, and their goal is to capture it 10 minutes later at 18 minutes 21 seconds into flight. And payload deployment should occur at T+1 hour is when all deployments will be complete. Obviously, we said there are quite a few on board, so they will be slowly jettisoned over time. Bull lightning seems like a disaster waiting to happen. So the way they do it is that the helicopter actually stays outside of the recovery zone, and then once it's got eyes on it and they're tracking it, that is when they will approach. So they are going to be able to maintain a safety area, and it is all up to the helicopter pilots to make the decision to go for a launch attempt or a recovery attempt or not. The nice thing is they don't have to be under it to recover it. So the rocket will be under parachute already, so it will be a lot slower already. And then they go and they actually capture the parachute's main line. That's what they're capturing, not actually the booster itself. So it'll be quite a sight to see, whether we see it live or we see it recorded. We're excited to see RocketLab finally going for this attempt, something they've teased for the last couple of years. They had a couple failures along the way, but they are back at it. If you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're looking at a live tracker of the RocketLab recovery helicopter that has been deployed out to prepare for today's launch. Launch currently being targeted for 18:41 Eastern Time, or 29 minutes from now. We're expecting RocketLab to go live here in the next few minutes with some live views of the pad. An hour and a half ago, they did begin fueling today's Electron booster to prepare for launch. Been delayed a number of times due to weather, similar to what we've seen here in Florida, but today we've been hearing the weather's looking pretty good, and that they are on track for a good launch here today. If you have questions, you can send those to us over in the chat. Just tag us at the launch pad, and we'll be answering those live throughout today's mission. Once RocketLab goes live, we will listen in to Mission Control exclusively to make sure we don't miss anything there, but then during the coast phase and deployment phase, we'll be answering those questions as well, but we'll answer a few here right now. If you haven't yet, though, make sure you follow us over on Twitter, TLPN_official. That's where we live tweet updates as they happen. Join us over on the Discord. We do have a few people hanging out in live comms, and you can join there if you want to chat while the launch is happening. We got Widow, Marcus, and Vampire Love hanging out in there. And make sure you head on over to our shop, as it is launch day. You can get 10% off of everything in the TLP store using promo code LAUNCHDAY. And that is international shipping, and you can pick up your Neutron shirt to have that ready for when we see that first attempt in a couple years of the RocketLab Neutron vehicle. RocketLab is spooling up their live stream here, so we are going to patch them in, and once we have an update from their mission control, we will patch that in as well. We will keep that live helicopter tracker on your screen, though, so you guys can have an idea where the helicopter is. We'll refresh occasionally, or we may just totally lose it. One way or another, we'll go back here. Looks like the helicopter just disappeared off the radar. But that is okay. We'll watch for that to come back online. Virginia getting the SpaceX charger. That's awesome. Excited for you to get that. Going to be great to, once you get that, take a moment, share those pictures. Would be great to see in the Discord. Hope you like it. Conan, the size and strengths of magnets that would need to catch a rocket wouldn't be applicably able to integrate into this rocket. Were we talking about catching with magnets? Interesting. Oh, I see that from Michelle here. Yeah, an interesting idea. It's just the weight of them. Yeah, spot on would be the different thing. Kyle, are you crazy? Is that a Red Bull helicopter? No, but it's probably something like Red Bull has used before. So we'll see what happens. Thanks, Race. Appreciate it. If you're just joining us, though, welcome. You're joining us for our live launch coverage of RocketLab Electron 26, launching from the Mahia Peninsula in New Zealand. We're currently sitting at T-minus 27 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting until we expect to see the Electron launch off of Launch Complex 1A. The weather's still looking good for that, and we're expecting to get an update from RocketLab Mission Control here in the next couple of minutes. Again, you guys can keep sending in your questions live, tagging us at the Launchpad. That helps flag those out of the chat so we can answer those for you as we continue to count down towards today's liftoff. We do know their recovery vessel is downrange as well, about 540 kilometers, I believe we were reading, is where they have it deployed. And that's where the helicopter will fly the booster to. Norman, SpaceX charger? Yeah, we have a Starlink charger over in our shop. If you head over etsy.com/shop/launchpad shop, or we'll drop it in the chat there, you can check it out. Virginia, you love the mission title there and back. Very appropriate. Yeah, and their next one is going to be called Catch Me If You Can, based on a tweet someone put out being like, this would have been a better name. So they follow their Twitter. So if you haven't yet, make sure you check that out. Greetings from Mexico. Great to have you here. And for those just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad, our live launch coverage of Electron 26, there and back again, Rocket Lab's first ever mission where they're going to attempt to catch today's Electron first stage with a helicopter. They're getting spooled up here, so we're going to patch them in. Again, if you have questions, say us in the chat with those at the launch pad. Make sure you take a moment, hit that like, and share out this broadcast as we watch the possibly first rocket first stage become reusable. That will be online right now globally, which will be a great thing to see. The second U.S. company, the second most flown rocket rocket right now. And here we go. Let's listen into Rocket Lab Mission Control.
Hello and good morning from New Zealand, where we are counting down to the liftoff of Rocket Lab's 26th Electron mission, there and back again. You are looking at a live view of the rocket ready on the pad at RocketLab Launch Complex 1 on New Zealand's east coast, from where we will fly 34 spacecraft to space for a range of customers on board this rideshare mission. It is the 3rd of May here in New Zealand, and we are about 20 minutes away from the opening of today's 2-hour launch window, with T0 set for 10:41 a.m. local time. My name's Muriel Baker, and I'm here at Rocket Lab's Mission Control Centre in Auckland, New Zealand, to take you through the launch and our incredibly exciting secondary mission to catch a returning rocket booster from space with a helicopter. Today's launch will be the first time we try to bring back Electron's booster underneath a helicopter. It's all part of our plan to make Electron the world's first reusable orbital class small rocket, and this mission is the most advanced milestone in the program yet. We have live footage coming into Mission Control from the helicopter for today's catch, which we will bring to you throughout this broadcast as we have it, and you can see it on your screen there. Keep in mind, though, that considering how far out to sea the helicopter will be, the video feed could be patchy and inconsistent, so bear with us, and we'll bring you what we can. From about T+8 minutes into the mission, we'll cross to the view from the helicopter as they attempt the catch. And regardless of whether we get those live shots, we will bring you updates throughout this broadcast on those operations as soon as we have them. It goes without saying, though, that catching a rocket mid-air with a helicopter is unconventional, and multiple factors need to align perfectly for today's first attempt to be a success. When it comes to R&D, we aim for the best, but we also plan for the worst, and our backup option today is our recovery vessel, stationed at sea near the recovery zone and ready on standby to fish the booster from the ocean like on previous recovery missions if we need it to. Regardless of the outcome of today's recovery attempt, we will gather plenty of invaluable data to inform future attempts. We have recovered Electron's booster this way 3 times before on previous missions, where we used a parachute to slow Electron's first stage before landing it softly in the ocean to be retrieved by our recovery engineers from the vessel. For this mission, we're not only going big on recovery, but we have also stacked Electron's payload plate with the most number of satellites we have manifested for a single mission. There and back again will carry 34 satellites to a 520-kilometre circular Earth orbit, with payloads expected to begin deploying from Electron's kick stage at approximately T+53 minutes after liftoff. The first satellites to separate will be the 3 on board from eSpace, in a demonstration of its technologies for its future sustainable satellite system. The satellites have small cross sections designed to decrease the risk of collisions with untrackable space objects and can automatically deorbit if any system malfunctions occur. Next will be the first of 2 stacks of Space Bees for Internet of Things Constellation Operator Swarm. Then we'll have the deployment of the Bro-6 satellite by Unseen Labs, a French company developing a constellation of satellites that detect radio frequency signals in marine monitoring. Today's mission is the 3rd launch Rocket Lab has provided for Unseen Labs to expand this constellation. And then after Unseen Labs will come the AuroraSat-1, also known as the Flying Object from Aurora Propulsion Technologies. This satellite will demonstrate space junk removal technologies for small satellites, including propulsion devices and plasma brakes that enable the sustainable use of space. Next will be the 4 Pico satellites from Alba Orbital. This cluster of tiny spacecraft includes Alba's Unicorn 2 Pocket Cube satellite, which carries an optical nighttime imaging payload designed to monitor light pollution across the globe. The other satellites are the TRSI-2, the TRSI-3, and a MyRadar-1. Each of these small satellites carry a unique sensor designed to demonstrate innovative technologies on orbit. And then last but not least on the manifest is Copia from Asterix Astronautics, a technology demonstration that will remain attached to the kick stage as it tests its deployment system designed to improve on power restraints typically seen in small satellites. Let's delve a bit deeper though into today's recovery mission and how our operations will take place. This mission is the ultimate recovery test. While the team has simulated a mid-air recovery in the past, as I mentioned before, this is our first attempt at the real thing. The helicopter we'll use in today's operations is a Sikorsky S-92 helicopter, specifically modified with an auxiliary tank to allow for extra fuel to complete today's offshore mission. For anyone unfamiliar with this vehicle, it is a massive machine, roughly the size of a bus. Normally used in search and rescue operations or to ferry large groups of people, the S-92's size and the power of its twin engines are being utilized today to manage the approximately 1 ton weight of Electron's booster. The helicopter's capture zone is about 150 nautical miles off New Zealand's coast. The helicopter will wait in this area a safe distance from where Electron is expected to return before it attempts the catch. To do this, the S-92 is equipped with a long line with a capture hook that will be used to snag in Electron's parachute cable as it slowly descends over the ocean. To practice our rocket catching skills, we've carried out many mid-air capture tests prior to this mission. These were conducted by dropping an Electron first stage test article from a second helicopter, deploying the stage's parachute, and then using the S-92 to catch the stage as it descends. And I'm going to take you through a quick rundown also through the recovery process once today's mission leaves the pad. At about 2.5 minutes after liftoff, Electron's first and second stages will separate like normal. Electron's second stage will continue on to orbit for payload deployment, while Electron's first stage will reorient itself and begin its descent back to Earth. It does this with tiny thrusters on the main body to tilt the first stage on the correct angle to slice through the atmosphere on the way back down. After deploying a drogue parachute at 13 kilometers or 8.3 miles altitude, the main parachute will be extracted at around 6 kilometers or 3.7 miles above Earth. This double deployment of chutes will help to dramatically slow the stage to a speed of just 36 kilometers or 22.3 miles per hour. This is expected to take place from about 8 minutes and 12 seconds in the mission. As the stage enters the capture zone, our helicopter will swoop in and rendezvous with the returning stage and capture it by its parachute line. And so, as we approach the T-minus 12-minute mark in this count to our launch, our operators on console will be run through the go, no-go poll by this mission's launch director, Joseph Carpico. This is the final assessment on whether all of Electron's systems are go for launch, and our operators are happy to proceed. Let's listen in to Mission Control and check in on how we are tracking for launch.
And if you're just joining us, welcome here.
Sounds like we're holding.
Copy that.
Welcome here to the launch pad. You're watching our live coverage of Electron 26, Rocket Lab's There and Back Again mission. Sounds like we might be entering a hold. Listening into Rocket Lab mission control here. If you're just joining us, take a moment, engage that like button. Really does help us out. And let us know in the chat where you're watching from.
And stand by for an update here shortly.
So it sounds like we've got a hold in that go, no-go poll from our launch director. So we're going to stand by, listen in for more information from mission control, and wait for an update.
So we did enter a hold there. Clock's reset to T-minus 12 minutes and holding during that go, no-go poll. Could be for a number of reasons, but fueling has been completed on the first and second stages. The liquid oxygen and RP-1 kerosene loaded up on Electron there out at Launch Complex 1A in the Mahia Peninsula, Rocket Lab's main site.
All operators, this is the LD on mission.
Let's listen.
Continue to monitor your critical systems and be prepared for a go, no-go on restarting of the count.
So just telling their teams to continue holding their stations, checking everything. They are looking to resume the count, possibly. So they will conduct another go, no-go here once they are able to relieve whatever was the hold. Could be the helicopter, the recovery ship, the range, the wind. There's a number of things, obviously, that get tracked separate from just the rocket itself. So all of those have to be provided go. Kevin, I agree. I think the best part of some of these companies is their evolving booster retrieval process. Absolutely. If you're just joining us, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at the Launchpad here at TOP. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together. And you're watching our live launch and first ever helicopter recovery attempt of Rocket Lab with their There and Back Again mission. We've entered a hold at T-minus 12 minutes, waiting for an update from mission control on what this hold could be for, but the rocket is fully fueled up and teams are working to establish a new T0 time. If you guys have questions, you can continue sending those in the chat. Tag us at the Launchpad, and we'll be answering those live as we go through this hold, waiting for an update.
For those of you just joining us, a quick note to let you know that we are in a hold at T-minus 12 minutes to launch. We're standing by for an update from mission control, and as soon as we have that, we'll share that with you here.
Great question in here from Kevin, one that a lot of people have asked before. Did you hear right that New Zealand Rocket Lab is a New Zealand company? No. Rocket Lab is a U.S. company. It is registered in the United States, which is why they do actually require FAA launch licenses to launch, even though they're launching out of New Zealand. They did start off not in the United States, but they were moved and reincorporated in the United States as a U.S. company. This was for one of many reasons, but one, it opens them up to be easier access to get U.S. military contracts. So they will be launching out of Wallops, Virginia, and they did just announce a new massive factory and launch facility there as well for their Neutron rockets that they hope to have test flights of in 2024-25. But they are a U.S. company, though all the launches we've ever seen from them have been from New Zealand, where they have their Pad 1A and 1B. Great question there. Zam, where, who is this rocket? You were looking on your screen, that small rocket there with the white on it, the black, everyone's favorite black rocket with the red stripes. That is the Electron rocket from Rocket Lab. That's going to be launching today with 34 satellites on board. This is going to bring RocketLab up to a total of 146 satellites that they've put into orbit. They're launching for Alba Orbital, Asterix Astronautics, Aurora Propulsion Technologies, eSpace, Unseen Labs, and Swarm Technologies. Many of these CubeSats are actually multiples, so like Swarm Technologies, they can fit like 5 of their sats in a stack in the space of kind of 1 or 2 normal CubeSats. So that's why the number is as high as it is. Daniel, thank you so much for that super chat. Appreciate your support. That helps us get people on site for all of these different launches, and we are working to get our own cameras down there in New Zealand for these Electron launches, so we appreciate your support in that way. Virginia loves the color scheme on the rocket. I agree. If you guys have questions, keep sending those in the chat, and we will be answering them. Lyndon, eventually a drone will capture the returning first stage. Possibly, if you could get a large enough drone to do so, that is maybe a possibility there. Bones, thank you so much for that $10 super chat. Really appreciate your support there. Really do appreciate that. If you guys would like to help,
Everyone,
there is a
just
live
an update
view.
for those of you who have joined us again, that we are in a hold at T-minus 12 minutes while we wait for an update from our launch director on whether we'll proceed through to T0. But on your screen, you've got those live views coming in from the recovery helicopter out over the Pacific Ocean. Our hold should not have an effect on these recovery procedures, so no worries there. But we'll come back to you with an update as soon as we hear more from our launch director.
Oh, still waiting for an update there from RocketLab. This is a live view from the helicopter, though. As you can see, there are lots of clouds below them at the site that they are currently at. You can see them kind of doing an orbit there. But nice that they're showing us there. We're still holding T-minus 12 minutes in the countdown, so if they do pick it up, it won't take long to get down to that T0 mark. The Electron is already fueled and ready to go. Hey, John, good to see you. The red stripes mean it is recoverable. So for RocketLab, they will do an all-black rocket with 2 white stripes before it's cold. Like the big white sections right now are just because it's...
mission. I've resumed the count. We are now at 13 minutes, 26 seconds and counting. The new T0 time is 224952 UTC or 104952 New Zealand Standard Time.
And there we go. They have resumed the count. T-minus 13 minutes, 6 seconds, and counting. We're waiting for this next go, no go.
So there we go. That was good news from our launch director. The count has resumed towards our launch today from LC1 of There and Back Again. We have a new T0 time. It's 10:49 a.m.
I can confirm I am actively monitoring mission cord, LV cord, range cord, and safety net.
Just to finish up there, I just want to confirm
All
that we have a new...
Please be prepared for a go, no-go poll at T-minus 12 minutes.
Okay, so we have a new T0 time at 10:49 a.m. New Zealand local time, or 22:49 UTC. And as you heard from our launch director there, we are about 18 seconds away from the go, no-go poll for this mission. So we'll wait here with Mission Control comms and listen into what our operators have to confirm.
All operators, this is the LD on mission with a go, no-go sequence poll. Stage.
Stages go.
Avionics.
Avionics is go.
GNC.
GNC's go.
VCon.
VCon is go.
T1.
T1 is go.
GC.
GC is go.
PLF.
PLS is go.
RSO.
RSO is go.
MET.
MET is go.
MM.
MM is go.
LD sub.
LD sub go.
All operators, this is the LD on mission. Go, no go sequence is complete. We are T-minus 11 minutes, 24 seconds and counting. We are go for terminal count at T-minus 10 minutes. From this time, the 3-word hold procedure is in effect.
And some great news there. Go for terminal countdown. T-minus 11 minutes and counting. Bones, thank you so much for that super chat there. I really appreciate it. Bones saying, I am so excited and scared. Hopefully it's a successful mission, but without
There you have it. We
failure.
are back on track because that is confirmation from Mission Control that the systems are healthy, and we will be proceeding with the remainder of the count. The T0 liftoff time is a new time of 10:49 a.m. New Zealand local time, or 22:49 UTC. So liftoff time for our Eastern time zone viewers is 18:49, and for our Pacific viewers it is 15:49. Today is Electron's time to shine, but recently we also celebrated a major step forward in our program for Neutron, our much bigger new rocket. We have broken ground at the location of our new Neutron production complex and launch pad in Wallops Island, Virginia. It's here we are planning to create more than 200 new jobs to support Neutron's development and its launch capability from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. Neutron is our new launch vehicle designed to lift 13 tons of payload and to provide a tailored launch solution for satellite mega constellations. Neutron will take RocketLab reusability another step into the future as a fully reusable rocket designed to land back on the launch pad after a mission and from there be returned to the nearby production complex for refurbishment and reflight. With construction underway and Neutron's development really ramping up, there are many exciting opportunities to join the team. You can check these out for yourself on the careers page of our website at rocketlabusa.com.
And as we come down, T-minus 9 minutes, just finishing up there. Bones saying, hopefully it's a successful mission without failure. There's nothing,
Avionics,
there's nothing to
LD on
learn.
mission.
LD avionics.
Yes, sir. Please proceed with sequence 56, avionics terminal checks.
Proceeding with.
However, as a
sequence 56,
shareholder-
avionics terminal checks.
However, as a shareholder, you want it to succeed. I agree, Bones. Thank you so much for that support, and I completely agree. No matter what
Today
happens
we're
today,
lifting off from pad
no matter what happens today, it will be something they learn. We want to hear from you in the poll. How will today's recovery go? Success with the helicopter catch, success with an ocean splashdown. That is still a success. Failure during re-entry of the parachute or failure on the pad during launch. Those failures, we don't think they're going to happen, but we'll throw them in there. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the poll. We'll check in on that as we come down to T-minus 8 minutes, 22 seconds and counting. Take a moment, engage that like button. It really helps us out. Share out the broadcast as we watch Electron there and back again launch from Launch Complex 1A at the Mahia Peninsula and hopefully be caught by the helicopter for the very first time.
and verify the orbital stability of that location, as well as test whether communication with NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter can gauge positioning, potentially allowing future spacecraft to determine their location relative to the Moon without having to rely on tracking from Earth. Here's more about the mission and how we'll deliver it to the Moon with Electron and Photon.
And as they take away from the cameras and play a video here about Neutron in their capstone here, we're going to take a moment, answer some of your guys' questions, so you can send those in the chat. Take us at the launch pad and we'll be answering those. Flag it in our system there. And if you'd like to help support what we do, consider becoming a member. Just $1.99 a month, and that will help make sure we bring you guys the best possible launch coverage of everything. And we are so excited to be working on a entire platform that will be launching in the near future, and that's thanks to your guys' support. So make sure you watch out for that. If you're a member, you can get some behind the scenes access of us developing this platform over on our Discord in behind the scenes and actually be part of the development. So consider hitting that join button or becoming a member over on Patreon. Also, if you're interested in becoming part of our crew, maybe you're down in New Zealand, in Europe, or by a launch site in the United States, consider becoming part of the TLP crew. Head on over to our website, tlpnetwork.com/join our team or join our crew. Our applications are there for contributors, for moderators, and for photographers and videographers. We got a couple questions coming in here. Keep sending those in. Justin, how quick of a turnaround is RocketLab looking at compared to the SpaceX Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy? It really depends how recovery goes. They've only recovered a few of these, so we are waiting for kind of more information on how quickly they go. They haven't released a targeted date, minimum amount of time, but similar to SpaceX, they hope to, within a couple months be able to reuse them and then get it down to what we just saw SpaceX do, where they, for the first time, used a booster helicopter twice in the same month. So that's ultimately what RocketLab would love to see what's happening. Kevin, what are the satellites going to be used for? Well, there are quite a few different satellites on board here today, 34 different satellites being sent up. Most of them are different types of CubeSats and microsats that are being launched. Some of them are by ESA. And different things like that. So there's ones that are doing nighttime Earth observations, innovative radio testing. There's some that are from students of the University of Auckland for science and engineering students there that are going to be used for lightweight, powerful generation devices for small satellites. They're going to test some new inflatable technologies on board. There's going to be some testing for thrusters for deorbiting modules of small sats. Lots of different things on board today. So if you want to learn more, head over to Rocket Lab's website. They do have a little bit of a breakdown there as we come down to T-minus 5 minutes and counting. Don't forget, engage that like button. It really does help us out, and share out the broadcast. Let's see how today's mission goes. Taking a quick look at the poll there. Don't forget, answer that poll. Over 150 votes so far. 70% think it's going to have a helicopter catch, and 19% ocean splashdown. That's what we like to see. Let's listen back into Rocket Lab mission control as we count down T-minus 4 minutes, 40 seconds till launch.
At T-minus 2 minutes, Electron will move to the countdown auto sequence, which is when the flight computers on the rocket take over the launch countdown from manual control. At T-minus 1 minute 30 seconds, we should hear the call that LOX loading is complete on Electron, telling us that the vehicle is fully fueled for launch. At T-minus 1 minute, the call will come from mission control that Electron's first and second stages are pressurized for launch and the vehicle is ready. Then we'll move to the final countdown to liftoff at T-minus 10 seconds and engine ignition shortly before liftoff at T0. Let's go to mission control comms now and listen in to our launch director take us through the final count.
LD GC on mission.
Go GC.
ECS disabled, pad auto sequence is armed, pad is ready for launch.
Copy.
LD avionics mission.
Go ahead, Evanus.
Recovery system is on internal power and enabled for flight.
Roger, thank you, sir. GNC, LD on mission.
LDGC.
Yes, sir. Confirm all expected recovery ASGOs are green and being monitored.
Confirmed.
All operators, this is the LD on mission with the LD go for launch. From now on, there should be no red flags on your critical LCCs. Econ, LD on mission.
LD VCon.
Confirm all expected flight computer ASGOs are green.
Confirmed green.
VCon, lock auto sequence and confirm.
Confirmed locked.
All operators, we are go for auto sequence start at T-minus 2 minutes. LD is go for launch.
That's the exciting part.
And you heard there, the launch director is go. Auto sequence start is go to start on schedule here. Range and mission control have all polled, and everything is green on their boards. Coming down T-minus 2 minutes in the count. As always, let's see in our chat a go, no go in the chat as we count down to liftoff of Electron 26 there and back again from Launch Complex 1A in the Mahia Peninsula.
Avionics batteries have switched to internal power. Vehicle is fully on internal power. AFTS is green and enabled for flight.
Locks load complete, lock system in recirculation.
T minus 60 seconds.
All anti-geistering disabled.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 are pressed for flight.
High flow engine purge is enabled. Deluge is activated.
T minus 20 seconds and counting. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we have liftoff.
Beginning pitch.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
T plus 31 seconds into the mission, and Electron is airborne after our 26th launch from LC1. We have a great view of that Electron leaving the pad as Electron powers its way to space. We are now at 4 kilometers in altitude, and very soon Electron will reach max Q. This is what's known as the point in the mission when the aerodynamic forces against the rocket are at their peak and cause the most amount of stress Electron will experience on its ascent. The call that we've cleared max Q should come from mission control shortly.
Coming up, T plus 70 seconds into flight, passing 11 kilometers in altitude, 1,500 kilometers an hour, pass through max Q. You can see
Having
a beautiful
cleared
view.
max Q, Electron's trajectory remains on track, and its propulsion is looking nominal as the mission continues to orbit. Soon we'll be coming up to the separation of the rocket stages that will signal the beginning of our Electron recovery attempt. First up will be MECO, or main engine cutoff, on Electron's first stage. This is when the rocket's nine Rutherford engines on its first stage power down, and then the rocket will drift for just a moment before the first and second stage separate. The second stage's engine should then start up and power the mission onto orbit, while Electron's booster begins its journey back toward the capture zone here on Earth. As it makes its way home, we'll stay with that live camera feed for as long as we can. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's wait for the call out of those first 3 events.
"15 seconds to MECO.
Coming up to 2.5 minutes in flight, passing through 63 kilometers in altitude, 7,200 kilometers an hour.
MECO
Waiting
confirmed.
for MECO. There's MECO.
Stage separation successful.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
And here we go, it is happening. Electron has successfully completed MECO, stage separation, and second stage engine start. Our Electron recovery attempt is now officially in motion, and we are off to a fantastic start with this mission. As the mission continues for our customers, the fairing protecting their satellites will soon separate and fall away in preparation of payload deployment. We'll wait to see that on our screens. Oh, and there it goes. We had that visual and audio confirmation we were after of the fairing successfully deploying. A check of stage 2 speed and altitude tells us the mission is continuing nominally, currently at more than 125 kilometers above Earth and reaching speeds of more than 8,000 kilometers per hour. Onward to orbit.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
Guidance is nominal.
3 minutes, 30 seconds into flight, the first stage continuing up to its apogee, expected to reach apogee in about 45 seconds from now at T plus 4 minutes, 36 seconds. Drogue chutes will deploy from
When the booster's engines shut down, the stage continued to coast to apogee. Now, during that coast, the reaction control thrusters on the stage will have moved Electron into position to better help it survive its hot and fast travel on the way back to Earth. Once we hear the call that the first stage has reached apogee, we know that what goes up must then come back down and head toward the capture zone where our recovery helicopter is waiting for it.
Drogue chutes expected to deploy 7 minutes 29 seconds into flight, followed by main chutes at 8 minutes 12 seconds. They're expecting the first stage to be captured around the T+18 minute mark. Once it's under chute, the helicopters will first locate it, do some checkouts, make sure everything's good, and then they will, as the helicopter makes the decision to make the recovery attempt. 4 minutes 45 seconds into flight, Electron second stage now 189 kilometers in altitude, traveling over 9,800 kilometers an hour. We're expecting battery hot swap to occur.
Electron's second stage engine, as you heard there, is continuing nominally and firing hot as the mission continues to orbit. All payloads on the stage remain healthy and ready for release to their 520-kilometer circular orbit. The next milestones to watch out for will be the deployment of the first chute on the Electron booster and the swap of the batteries powering the Stage 2 Rutherford engine. Now, both events should occur within seconds of each other and be confirmed across mission control comms, so we'll make sure to listen out for those. Meanwhile, our recovery helicopter is ready and waiting out over the Pacific Ocean for that drogue chute on the Stage 1 to deploy, knowing that will indicate the main chute deployment and helicopter catch attempt will be only minutes away.
Coming up to 6 minutes into flight, passing 220
Taking a look at
kilometers in
the
altitude.
telemetry, Electron's second stage continues on its journey to orbit at a speed of over 11,000 kilometers an hour and an altitude of more than 220 kilometers. Meanwhile, Electron's first stage is on the correct angle of attack to make its way through the wall, as you can see on your left there. Now, that wall is the roughest part of the atmosphere, but thanks to the RCS thrusters we mentioned earlier, the Stage 1 booster is on a very smooth descent. We are coming up to the next gate, though, for Electron's second stage to clear, the battery hot swap for its Rutherford engine. This engine is the world's first to use the electric pump feed cycle for orbital space travel. To keep the propellant pump system going all the way to orbit, we swap out the batteries as they are drained with a new set to keep the system running. We're likely to catch the glint of sunlight reflecting off the discarded battery packs as they fall away, so keep your eyes on your screen for that and your ears open for the call from Mission Control to confirm.
We're watching for drogues in about 30 seconds, just seconds after battery hot swap. This is one point where RocketLab has had issues before, but generally speaking have gone well, is the battery hot swap. You'll want to watch the speed and the altitude to see if they change. That expected here in just a couple of seconds. Take a moment, engage that like button, really does help out the stream. And share out the broadcast as we are minutes away from watching RocketLab attempt to recover a RocketLab Electron with a helicopter. There's battery hot swap. And that speed's continuing to increase. And there was drogue chute deploy, I believe we heard.
Guidance is nominal.
Drogue deployed.
Battery hot swap is confirmed, and so too, you heard it there, the deployment of the drogue chute on Electron's first stage. The second stage is continuing nominally on its mission for our customers. You can see it on your screen there. And for recovery, we are around 30 seconds or so away from the main parachute being released. This action should really slow down the booster's travel to a slow enough speed for our recovery helicopter to safely move in and attempt to capture it.
Waiting for that call on main chutes. It does, Andy. It really does. If you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're watching our live launch coverage of Electron 26, second stage, well on its way to orbit for the there and back again mission. And the first stage is already under drogue chutes, and we're waiting for main chute deploy. And there we go, confirmation of a good main chute. Rocket Lab's helicopter will now require visual of the booster undershoot and then decide to make an
Fantastic news there
approach.
from Mission. We have just had confirmation that the main parachute on stage 1 was successfully deployed and the S-92 helicopter can prepare to capture Electron. We'll be bringing you updates as soon as we have them, but very soon we are also expecting SECO on the final stage separation of the kick stage. We'll wait for those calls, but stick with this view from the helicopter as long as we can.
So this live view that they had there of the helicopter, we're not sure how they'll be able to maintain it. They are quite far out, so they have said that view may drop off now and again, but the recovery helicopter will now search the skies for the booster undershoot, and the helicopter crew will decide whether they want to go in for a recovery attempt where they will attempt to scoop the cable between the helicopter and the rocket to literally scoop the rocket out of the air and then bring it back to the recovery zone. The catch expected to occur around the 18-minute mark. They do have a cutoff at a point where the helicopter will back off and they will end up going with just a splashdown recovery attempt, which is still a recovery. It's still a reusable rocket, but ultimately if they can catch it with a helicopter, fly it back to the launch complex, that is ultimately the goal. So on the left side of your view there, you can see the live view looking straight down from the helicopter, and on the right side that second stage, and it looks like we have had burnout there of that second stage engine, meaning they have reached orbit.
On stage 2 has successfully shut down, and stage 2 and the kick stage will have cleanly separated. The kick stage will now enter what we call a coasting phase while it's in an elliptical orbit before its Curie engine ignites and propels it into its sun-synchronous orbit, where we will deploy the satellites. Now on the left of your screen you can see the views from that recovery helicopter. We have only a few minutes left in the capture window where that helicopter can safely recover Electron. Remember, catching a returning rocket stage mid-air is as it returns from space is as highly complex as it sounds, and it demands extreme precision. So several critical milestones must align perfectly to ensure a successful capture. We are on track to do that, but we are prepared with an ocean vessel nearby. And we've just had confirmation as well that the parachute is in sight of the pilot on that chopper. Exciting stuff. Hopefully we'll see it on our screens there soon too.
For those just joining us, we're waiting for confirmation on the
We're all waiting
helicopter.
on the edge of our seats here at our facilities. If this catch is a success, it marks an enormous milestone in our recovery program. Let's hope we can see that parachute in the frame of the camera soon. We've got various members of our recovery team stationed at the drop zone back on land, out on the recovery vessel for support. Here in MCC, they're in that crowd as you've seen in some of our shots. And of course, we have our pilot in the powerful Sikorsky S-92 helicopter in the sky over the Pacific, ensuring this is all going according to plan. Now you can see some of our recovery team members there. I don't think they could get any closer to that screen if they could. They are no doubt very anxious and waiting, like we all are, for this capture attempt to go ahead. It was only 3 years ago, can you believe it, that we announced the Recovery and Reusability Program. And here we are today after 5 successful previous re-entries, bringing us to this moment. What you can see on your screen is the line from the helicopter with the capture hook at the end of it. That pilot is moving into position to attempt that catch with the Electron booster underneath the parachute. Hopefully we'll see that on our screen soon. But keep your fingers crossed for this attempt. Just very quickly, while I can, I want to point you to the right side of the screen that shows that the kick stage is on its elliptical path above the world and onward to orbit for our customers. And then, of course, again, we're all keeping our eyes on the left, that you can see the recovery helicopter in that zone moving in for the catch attempt. Hopefully, again, that we see that soon.
And if you haven't yet, take a moment, hit that like button. And just a reminder, it is launch day. You can get 10% over on the Launchpad shop on everything. Just use promo code LAUNCHDAY, and you can get your Neutron shirts and Electron shirts over there. We're watching to see if we see a rocket come into view on that left side of the screen. Hopefully they blow it up if they go for the attempt here. Only a couple minutes left in the recovery window where they can attempt the helicopter catch. Otherwise, they will have to go with splashdown. Many asking why use a helicopter. It's a faster turnaround because they can fly it right back to the launch complex, so they can do a faster recovery refurbishment and get it back out on the pad for another launch.
I don't know about all of you viewing, but the longer I watch this line waiting for that parachute to come in. Oh,
there's the...
There we go. We've got our first glimpse of it.
That is an Electron rocket. And that sounds like some good cheers.
Absolutely incredible stuff there. We have successfully caught that Electron booster underneath the parachute. So that helicopter, confirming again, has hooked onto the drogue line and has captured Electron. Just incredible. So now the helicopter will bring the stage to land, where our engineers will analyze and determine if Electron is suitable for reflight.
Okay, there was a big awe there for a minute. So let's wait to hear what that awe was about. But it sounds like they did catch it. So take a moment, hit that like button, and subscribe. Share out the broadcast. They cut the feed, so let's wait to hear what that was, because there was a very big awe there at the end. So we'll wait to see.
Now we're going to take a bit of a break on the webcast, but we will be back with you closer to payload deployment for the primary mission to listen into those final moments from mission control. I'll see you back here soon.
And for those just joining us, welcome here to Launchpad. We're not going anywhere. We're staying live for deployment. We're waiting for actual confirmation more than just the lady saying it, because there was a big awe there at the moment. So maybe they caught it and dropped it. We'll have to wait and see what ultimately they say as they continue through today's launch. But if you're new, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad. Here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together. And we cover launches of all the agencies around the world, including press events, exclusive interviews, and more. So if you'd like to, take a moment, engage that subscribe button. It really helps us out, and you'll never miss another thing happening in space. We're super excited to be launching a new space platform for everyone that you guys aren't going to want to miss, with a lot of details about all these missions. So stay tuned for that. If you'd like to get a glimpse of it, though, you can become a member. Hit that join button and join us sometimes in behind the scenes, where you can see us working and have input on things that we are working on for everyone around the world. If you haven't yet, though, take a moment, let us know what you thought in the chat, where you're watching from as well. I know many new viewers here tonight, so we'll wait to see what happens. They did say they caught it. RocketLab did say they caught the booster. We're waiting to see. Maybe they'll tweet some pictures out of the footage of the capture. But there was a big awe at the end. So I'm wondering what the awe was about. That is what we're waiting for. But T plus 18.5 minutes into flight, we're expecting the payload deployments all to be completed in the next 42 minutes. There will be a burn of the Curie engine at T plus 57 minutes 43 seconds for about 90 seconds. So in the meantime, we're going to be answering your guys' questions. You can send those in the chat, tag us at the launch pad, and if you haven't yet, join us over on the Discord. It's totally free to do so. We're hanging out in live comms. I'd love to invite you there. I'll be jumping in there following stream. We've got Joker, Kevin, Marcus, Ty, Vampire Love hanging out in there. Totally free to do so. And follow us over on Twitter to never miss breaking news as it happens. We live tweet updates there throughout it. Kevin, do you think the line snapped on them? I'm wondering. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe it was a line. Too much pressure or tension on it. I think definitely is a possibility, but we'll wait to see how it goes. Love that, Andy. Thank you so much. Tim's an awesome guy. I met him a number of times and excited to hopefully have him on the launch pad in the near future. Tim, let's do that interview. Mike, I think they need to improve the video angle, the helicopter. Well, they have better views. That's just the one that they were broadcasting out. So we'll wait to see what happens. Hopefully the helicopter's okay. I'm sure the helicopter is good. We are watching our flight radar. And I do have the helicopter back on radar here, so we can patch this back in. It is making its return. Once it got so far off of the view, we didn't have radar for it, but we do have the helicopter beginning its journey back to the land of New Zealand. Bones, thank you so much. I think the awe was because they cut the video feed, not that they dropped. That's a possibility, Bones. Great possibility there. That's a actually good one. Didn't think about that. Kevin, is the satellites going to be used to track storms? So these are all CubeSats, so they're not going to be anything near as powerful as what we've seen with some of the other satellites that have been launched. They did give us a little bit of a rundown of what they were earlier in the stream, but on board there are a number of different satellites that will be used to test thrusters and deorbiting modules for small satellites. There are satellites that are going to be used for capturing of small debris and burning them up safely. There's going to be CubeSats that will work for geolocation of sea vessels that they're going to be testing out, as well as things that will help include ground transportation, maritime shipping, and agriculture. And so lots of different operations being conducted with these satellites that will be deployed here today. If you're just joining us, though, we're 21 minutes, 30 seconds into flight, a successful launch of the Electron rocket from Launch Complex 1A at the Mahia Peninsula, and we believe RocketLab successfully caught an Electron rocket out of the air with a helicopter. Right there on the right side of your screen, that is the helicopter making its way back to New Zealand, and we are waiting to see if there are some photos or videos from RocketLab of the recovery, but we did see just briefly that Electron in view. No matter what happened, the fact that they got a helicopter that close to a booster while falling is a really great proof that this idea can work, and that they are working for it. They did just tweet 4 minutes ago, helicopter attach. Stay tuned for recovery details and payload deployment. So it sounds like we may get another view as this helicopter makes its way back. Maybe if it flies by the launch site there, they can aim a couple cameras towards it. So make sure you stay with us here as we await for the deployment of these payloads, as well as possibly more views of that booster under the helicopter. If you guys have questions, send those in the chat. You tag us at the launch pad, and we'll be answering those live. John, even at the line snap, still a success since they caught it in the first place. Exactly. They'll know what to do. And that was the big thing they were making clear on this, is that no matter what happened with today's mission, any sort of successful deployment of their customers' payloads and any sort of re-entry of the booster is giving them data that they are wanting. What was the payload weight? Today's payload weight was... Let me pull that one up here for you. Wondering if they included that in today's brief. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. We know that it can carry up to 300 kilograms or 660 pounds into a 500 kilometer sun synchronous orbit. Today they're going into a 520 kilometer sun synchronous orbit, so most likely they are near that capacity. Yeah, Skylar. So they caught it using the parachute on the booster. So what they did is, and I'll pull up a feed here while we're waiting for this recovery to occur, because it is a really, really good question here. So let's see if we can fit this in a little bit better here for you. This is straight from RocketLab out of the brief that they sent out today. So the rocket obviously is going up. It has second stage separation that occurs, and then the booster begins to come back in. It orientates itself similar to a Falcon 9 with the engines down, goes through what they call the wall, which is the re-entry part. It will have drogue chute deploy, and then following drogue chute deploy is when the main chute deploys. At that point, the helicopter will visually locate the rocket under main chute and go for a closer view. Once it sees that the rocket is stable and the chute's stable and good, then they lower that hook from the helicopter that we saw, and they will go and they attempt to actually hook the cables of the chute below it, and then they will fly that back. They don't actually hook the chute itself like in their image, but that is ultimately what they try to do, is catch those cables and then fly it back to their recovery site. You can see here on the live view, though, that second stage continuing its journey now up towards Africa, having passed over Antarctica at this point, heading up towards Europe there and Iceland. But great question there. If you guys have questions, you can continue sending those in the chat, and we'll be answering those live. Where is the helicopter on the map right now? Let me pull that up for you here. So there's the helicopter. You can see the path that it was on when it went out to sea. And then we did lose it for a little bit, but we'll bring this over so you can see the coastline to give you an idea where it is flying back to here. See if we can zoom this a little more. There we go. So the little blue dots you're seeing, those are the airports. Those are the landing sites, but it will drop the rocket off at a different location, kind of on that jetty there. That's actually where they launch from, that outjetting of the land. For small rockets, it seems viable method, but in the big scheme, SpaceX have it nailed. Absolutely, Andy. This is a very possible method for small sat launchers like Electron. Landing it like a Falcon 9, which is what RocketLab plans to do with their Neutron rocket, is key for the larger scale rockets. Absolutely. Again, if it's your first time here, take a moment, engage that like and subscribe button, really helps us out, and consider joining us over on Discord. I'd love to see the sky hook maneuver. Yeah, hopefully they had some other cameras on it, like some GoPros and stuff, that they'd be able to see that they weren't risking broadcasting. Having worked in event broadcasting, there's times that you make the decision that it is not as important to broadcast it live as it is to make sure that you get that footage. So we will definitely see more. We're using a few sites, Sam, for tracking it, but we do have membership access to them. Caleb, landing does take more fuel and hardware. Absolutely, it does. Catching it out of the sky takes just a parachute. So that is a key point. It does help reduce the amount of excess weight they have to add on to the booster during that launch and recovery attempt. So RocketLab, let's see here. So we are seeing on Twitter a mixed results of whether people believe they caught it or not. RocketLab a minute ago did tweet an image showing that they that image where we saw the booster in the near view, but it wasn't caught yet. And we are seeing some other views that people are showing where it looks like the entire line may have separated. So we'll wait to hear more from RocketLab on all of what has occurred. Ultimately, we want to see a picture of it under the helicopter. So that is what we are looking for. Definitely going to be part of the next podcast, Kevin. I do agree. We're going to take a quick commentary break. Stay here. Keep sending in your questions in the chat. We're going to update a couple things on Twitter, try to get some updates here from RocketLab. So stay with us right here on the launch pad as we continue to await deployment of 32 satellites from today's Electron and more confirmation of the first ever helicopter catch of an Electron rocket. Stay with us.
Oh, there we go.
And for those just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad and our live launch coverage of Rocket Lab's There and Back Again Electron mission launching from the Mahia Peninsula in New Zealand. We are coming up to the final stage of today's mission, the ignition of the Curie engine on the Electron kick stage. Expecting that to occur at T plus 57 minutes, 43 seconds into flight. Expect that burn to run until T plus 59 minutes, 11 seconds, and then there will be the payload deployments as well. You can see those payload deployments on the tracker as well on the left side of your screen. In the top right corner, we have our tweet there. Rocket Lab announced that the catch was successful, but as we all heard here, there was a large collective sigh heard from the employees about 60 seconds later. Rocket Lab has confirmed more recovery details are to come. Now, with that, though, Irene Klotz of Aviation Week is in Long Beach with Rocket Lab for today's launch and recovery operations, and she has been tweeting that, quote, "Wow, I can't believe we caught it," Beck says. Quote, "We've now got to operationalize that. It seemed to work. It all just happened." End quote. Only half of Electron launches will be able to accommodate this type of recovery with the helicopter due to the daytime light conditions required. We have heard, quote, "We'll probably drop it in the water and then put it on to the ship depending on the sea state," end quote, says Peter Beck, adding that a dunk in the water shouldn't affect the reusability of the booster. Quote, "We'll see what we end up doing. If we just dunk and then grab it, it should be fine." So, interesting to hear there. We haven't heard anything more from Rocket Lab directly, but Irene Klotz saying she's there with Rocket Lab, that Peter Beck has made the statement, "Wow, I can't believe we caught it." So we're waiting to hear more from Rocket Lab. We may not hear it during today's stream, but we hope to. But quite an amazing feat if they did. Even if it did fall off or anything else happens and it's not a reusable booster, they caught it with a helicopter for a moment, and that is a really incredible achievement. First time that's ever been done. So great to see. For those just joining us, though, if you guys have questions, you can keep sending those in the chat. Tag us with at the launch pad, and we are going to be answering that. The kick stage is just passing west of Europe now, going to just skirt west of Iceland and then over Greenland. Expecting that Curie stage to ignite here in about 2 minutes. So we're going to turn up mission control here and listen in as we wait for confirmation of that Curie burn and the payload deployments. If you haven't yet, though, take a moment, head on over to our shop, use promo code LAUNCHDAY. You can get 10% off of everything over there, and make sure you're following us over on Twitter as we live tweet updates when we aren't live about everything in the space news. Waiting for Rocket Lab to resume their commentary for this Curie burn. Expected to get underway here in just a few minutes. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate you being here. Great to see you. Have some rest. Sounds like they are probably getting ready to patch in their comms here for that Curie burn. We expect that burn, like I said, to begin 57 minutes, 43 seconds, about 60 seconds from now. Hey, Mark, good to see you. If you want to continue talking about space, though, following today's launch, you can join us over on our Discord. It's free to join. We'll be jumping in live comms following today's live broadcast. We'll be staying live, though, for a little bit longer. And it is looking like we do have the helicopter back on radar, which is a great sign. It's been going on and off. Could be due to the weather, the recovery. They also are probably wanting to protect the helicopter if it does have a rocket underneath of it, to not have people, trying to fly near it. So that would explain why they are turning it on and off as well. But there you can see that helicopter making its way back towards the coast of New Zealand. We'll zoom out here. We should be seeing that kick stage getting underway here momentarily.
Welcome back to the webcast of Rocket Lab's 26th Electron mission there and back again. If you're just joining us, today's launch included a successful liftoff at 10:49 a.m. New Zealand local time, or 22:49 UTC. After passing through Max Q, Electron completed a clean first and second stage separation. Now, of course, today's secondary mission objective was catching Electron's first stage booster with a helicopter. And if you are watching the mission, you will have seen earlier we witnessed a spectacular catch of Electron's first stage by our helicopter pilot. This is a monumental step forward in our program to make Electron a reusable launch vehicle. Now, after the catch, the helicopter pilot noticed different load characteristics than we've experienced in testing, which of course you do expect when testing anything in the field for the first time. At his discretion, the pilot offloaded the stage for a successful splashdown, where it is being recovered by our vessel for transport back to our factory. The stage is in great condition though, and we look forward to assessing it in detail when it's back here in the factory, and of course getting ready for more helicopter catches soon. Meanwhile, the kick stage has completed its first pass in an elliptical orbit of Earth, and we've had good ignition of its Curie engine to position the kick stage in sun-synchronous orbit, where we'll drop off the 34 satellites on board this rideshare mission for 6 customers. The deployments will happen in succession shortly after the Curie engine has shut down, so let's listen in.
And Curie shut down. Nominal circularization.
Brilliant. That is a good Curie shutdown confirmed there by Mission Control, so it is time to put some satellites on orbit. First up in today's deployment sequence are the spacecraft for eSpace. eSpace's payload consists of 3 demonstration satellites to validate the systems and technology for its sustainable satellite system. The satellites can automatically deorbit if any system malfunctions occur, keeping space nice and clean. We should hear confirmation of a successful deployment soon.
eSpace payload deployment is successful.
There you go. Payload deployment is successful for eSpace. We hope you enjoyed the ride. Up next for deployment from Electron's kick stage, we have some Space Bees from Internet of... And there they go. Payload deployment for Swarm successful there from the kick stage. So next we will have the Bro 6 satellite for our friends at Unseen Labs. This is the 6th in its constellation and the 3rd launch RocketLab has provided for Unseen Labs to expand it. Let's listen in for that confirmation.
Bro 6 deployment successful.
That's what we like to hear. Bro 6 has successfully separated from the kick stage. We're now almost at the halfway point of today's deployments. Now we are listening out for the call that AuroraSat-1 has been deployed. This satellite is also known as the Flying Object, which, while it sounds mysterious, will be doing the good deed of demonstrating space junk removal technologies for small satellites, including propulsion devices and plasma brakes that enable the sustainable use of space.
AuroraSat-1 deployment successful.
And there we have it, another payload successfully in orbit. The next deployment is for a second stack of Space Bees satellites for Swarm. We'll give the flying object a bit of space first, but we should hear the call for successful deployment of the Space Bees any moment.
Second group of Space Bees released successfully.
You heard it there, the Space Bees have separated from the kick stage. That leaves us with just 2 payloads to go. Up next we have the 4 Pico satellite payloads for one of our returning customers, Alba Orbital. We've got Alba's own Unicorn 2 Pocket Cube satellite, along with the TRSI 2 and 3, and a MyRadar 1, all from MyRadar. We are thrilled to provide the Alba team with a ride to space once again.
Alba Cluster X deployed successfully.
And that's Mission Control confirming that the Alba orbital payload has been successfully deployed. So we are down to the final remaining payload for this mission, the Copia spacecraft for Asterix. Now this final payload is a little unique in that it remains attached to the kick stage to conduct its technology demonstration, testing inflatable solar power generation technology. This deployment won't happen for another 15 minutes or so, but we'll keep you posted via social media, so keep an eye out there. So with that, I am delighted to confirm mission success for today's launch. Thank you, as always, to our fantastic mission partners. It is an honor and a privilege to deliver your spacecraft to orbit. Thank you to our incredible team who made today's mission possible, and a huge congratulations again to our recovery team for another step forward in the recovery program today. To find out more about what's next in that program and to stay up to date on upcoming missions, follow us across our social media platforms. So thank you again for joining us for this webcast. We'll see you back here soon for our next launch, taking us a bit further than usual, coming up very soon. This is RocketLab Mission Control, signing off.
And there we go. That completes today's mission. An update there from Rocket Lab. We just tweeted out. If you don't follow us over on Twitter, make sure you head over there, TLPN_official, saying they offloaded the Electron for splashdown. After catching the booster over the Pacific successfully, the pilot noticed different load characteristics than experienced during testing. So for the safety of the chopper, they did offload it. But still a mission complete, mission successful. The Rocket Lab payload deployments are well underway, just a few left there, but most of them are complete. Huge shout out to Bones there for your support today. Really appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching, but that's going to do it from here at the TLP Network studios. Here at the launch pad, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together. We invite you to subscribe, join us over on Discord. We're going to be having a post show over in LiveCom, so join us there, but that's going to do it from here. But this is Zach from TLP Network studios signing off. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.